Good afternoon and welcome to today's Top Tips webinar. My name is James Evely and I'm the editor of In Publishing. The format of the webinar is very straightforward. Carolyn will make a 20-minute presentation which will be followed by a 10-minute Q&A. To take part in the Q&A, simply type your question into the panel in front of you at any time. I will then collate the questions and put as many of them as possible to Carolyn after her presentation. I won't read out the names of the people asking the questions, just the questions themselves. So, without further ado, I'd like to hand you straight over to Carolyn.
Hello, thank you, James, and welcome to this webinar about what drives value in media businesses. So today I'm going to focus on how you can start to reshape your media business to build long-term value and share 7 ideas on the direction you need to take and how to take those first steps. Now, whether you have immediate plans to find external investors or sell outright, or simply want to secure a long-term future for your staff and stakeholders, it pays to know how to build future value. So the value in a media business is not just about its current revenues. It is driven by the reach of its brands, the uniqueness of its content, and the depth of its relationships with its audience, plus the strength of its commercial relationships. Having a range of revenue sources builds long-term resilience, and predictable, repeatable revenues such as subscriptions rank more highly with buyers than volatile advertising revenues. Prospective buyers and investors can be swayed by how a business is described. In B2B media, being considered a business information provider is more highly valued than simply a content publisher. It somehow implies being a trusted supplier of information on a regular, i.e. subscription basis, rather than being reliant on volatile advertising. And while we in the industry might use the term publisher for digital content as well as print, the word still has a touch of paper and print for some investors. Consumer publishers with e-commerce and events businesses and subscription revenues are more highly valued than those who are reliant on newsstand and advertising. So what do you need to start doing now to create long-term value in your media business? I've summarised 7 themes to guide your 2017 plan. So number 1 is build unique content and data assets. Now, news, as we all now know, is a commodity and very hard to charge for, but readers will value product or venue reviews, techniques and practical advice, detailed reports and dossiers, and good quality insights and analysis. The images here are from procurement leaders who include planning guides, research and category intelligence in their paid subscription packages. So consider how you could build up a valuable set of articles, reports, reviews, interviews and case studies, which could form an important resource for your readers and a reason to pay for access or take out a subscription. This means much more than text and images. Video communicates processes, people and places far more effectively and can cross language barriers. Podcasts and audio can be consumed easily while travelling. And data, such as pricing trends or market information over time, can be invaluable to business audiences or consumers researching expensive purchases. Directories of hard-to-find products and services indexed in a manner that makes sense to your specific readership can save them time and money. You have to focus on what is proprietary or unique to your media brand. If you do have star columnists or analysts, first secure their exclusive services, then build them up as market experts, focusing on the specific needs and concerns of your audience. A series of reports that can be updated annually or form a definitive collection of key issues, skills or techniques can become the foundation of a subscription proposition. It's important to get your content management system sorted so that it's easy for your editorial team to create, publish and reuse text, visual and audio assets to create new valuable content. Number 2, amass a database of engaged readers. Now, a rich reserve of unique quality content will keep bringing your audience back to your magazines, websites and events, considering them to be an essential resource to solve problems or provide inspiration. Now, it's all very well to attract an audience to free content through search and social media. In fact, it's completely necessary to fuel future growth, but you need to know who they are and how they consume your content. A strong social media following does add the perception of value to a media brand, even if it's hard to actually attribute revenues. Once you can prove your content is valuable, your readers will willingly share more information with you, their contact details and what is important to them. Even in this social media-driven age, an email database is still highly valuable, especially in B2B markets. A strategic approach to email newsletters, tailoring content, format, and frequency to suit each segment of your audience, is crucial to nurturing your readers. Deliver real value through your content before selling too hard. Offer useful online tools that require registration to keep building up your database. The images on this slide are from The Economist, which successfully uses social platforms to reach 20 million followers worldwide, fueling a 4 million strong email database, which in turn keeps their digital subscriber numbers at 325,000 and growing. A website that allows you to track the behavior of logged-in, registered users can uncover great insights, allowing your editorial team to concentrate on the most valued topics. And a user group that is willing to feed back in more detail on how they use your content and how well the online experience works can provide clear direction for editorial teams and identify potential new products. High-performing subscription-driven media businesses often have an advisory board or customer group who are regularly consulted on how they actually use information and content to make better decisions. So content is still paramount. With a mobile and impatient consumer, a slick user experience on mobile can add significant value to a product. Number 3, acquire digital skills and capabilities. Now, while print has its place and live events are still driving revenues, digital content will be at the core of most media brands. So it is essential for your team to possess a full range of digital skills, from the basics of SEO and email marketing to data management and social media. Editorial teams must be comfortable creating audio, video, infographics and charts, as well as snippets for social platforms. And they need strong skills in presenting webinars, interviewing on camera, and chairing live debates. Marketing teams need to understand audience analytics, marketing automation, and customer database management, as well as the best method of communicating with emerging digital natives. And technical teams, whether in-house or outsourced, have to appreciate mobile-first design and the latest trends in user experience. Plus, your commercial teams must be able to devise multi-platform campaigns and provide all the tracking analytics that clients demand. It's crucial to invest in staff training and development, plus hire in key skills and develop strong working relationships with external agencies and specialists. This will make it possible to experiment with new approaches to digital content and marketing and learn what suits your audience, essential to evolve your products rapidly. Now, it may sound a long way from your own media business, but since Jeff Bezos acquired the Washington Post, he has tripled the size of the engineering team, focused on analytics, and built a culture of rapid test and learn, and traffic is growing. Number 4, establish strong commercial relationships. Now, media brands can't begin to compete with the global tech platforms on reach, and as display rates for normal advertising spiral down, the only route to premium pricing for commercial packages is to offer tailored marketing solutions, leveraging the publisher's editorial expertise to communicate the right messages in the right style for their specific audience. This service is more costly to deliver, so it requires higher investment from each client and longer-term relationships based on delivering advertiser marketing objectives. Think hard about which organizations in your market have the budget available to invest in full marketing solutions and ensure you establish a strong relationship. Now, news service Quartz are particularly adept at bespoke creative marketing solutions. This example here is a campaign for Lexus. They can charge rates 10 times as high for their bespoke marketing solutions as they can for standard display. Now, this may well require hiring in salespeople with a different set of skills, more consultative and with a strong appreciation of marketing, as well as the project management know-how to help deliver complex programs. But the payoff is satisfied clients achieving measurable outcomes and higher repeat bookings. At the other end of the scale, there are of course opportunities for low-priced, high-volume ad propositions, such as directories. But it's worth exploring ways to automate these and make them self-service where at all possible. Number 5, create repeatable revenues. So if you already have subscription revenues, congratulations, you're enjoying the security of repeatable revenues and the cash flow benefits, let alone the insights into how your best customers use your digital content and services. If your subscription revenue is still based around your print product, even if there is a digital replica, consider how you can develop a digital-only subscription proposition, which will be more efficient to deliver internationally, or in B2B markets can be offered on an enterprise basis. Business readers are more interested in searchable resources to answer specific questions than a magazine-style package, so a web-based content proposition is usually appealing to them. The images here are from Gourmet Traveller Wine, which gives digital subscribers instant access to an extensive wine tasting archive, and from the Royal College of Nursing, which offers digital subscriptions with and without e-learning access. Positioning a subscription package as a membership scheme, bundling in exclusive events or special offers and deals, as well as digital and print content, can permit you to charge a premium rate. The holy grail, though, for business media is developing a data-driven product, ideally with proprietary databases, trend data, forecasts, and continuous updates, which can be delivered digitally to multiple users within one enterprise and available globally. Premium price points of £5,000 to £10,000 per annum, plus high renewal rates, make these products an excellent driver of value, positioning your organisation as a business information provider rather than a publisher. Number 6, experiment with events and e-commerce. Many business publishers derive a third of their revenue from live events, whether one-day conferences, multi-day exhibitions and expos, awards, or a series of breakfast briefings and networking evenings. Events can bring together buyers and sellers, or simply allow peers to share best practice and build networks. Online events such as webinars are also a strong sponsorship proposition. Consumer publishers are also launching live events, providing their advertisers with an opportunity to demonstrate products and sell directly to their audience, and giving readers a chance to meet experts live and immerse themselves in their interest or sport. A growing number of consumer publishers are also moving into e-commerce, selling kits to craft enthusiasts or even selling cars online. This requires a new skill set of managing stock and cross-promotion of products, but the marketing clout of an established media brand provides a head start. A good example here is Immediate Media, who bought TV shopping business Jewellery Maker to sit alongside its craft magazines, and the business has just been acquired by Burda. Live events contribute a third of revenues for Retail Week, which is part of Essential. Number 7, test international potential. The English language gives UK publishers an unfair advantage, making it easy to test out demand for content internationally. If your content has the potential to travel, a good starting point is to create regionalised sections of your website and encourage users to register to receive tailored email updates and extracts from a regional subscription package. Regional sections also provide the opportunity to offer finer targeting for advertisers. Concentrating on 1 or 2 regions at a time and testing the potential for incremental revenue could attract a commercial partner or buyer with capacity to invest. Examples here are the Institute of Civil Engineers with their international membership and Just Auto, which has global coverage. So, to summarise, these are the 7 key areas where you can add long-term value, and where even small steps taken now can pay long-term dividends and help make your media business more resilient to change and more appealing to investors. Do be aware that potential investors and buyers could come from outside traditional media. They could include retailers or event organisers, for whom the marketing reach, quality content and customer database are hugely important. So number 1 is build unique content and data assets. Number 2, to amass a database of engaged readers. 3, acquire digital skills and capabilities. 4, establish strong commercial relationships. 5, create repeatable revenues. 6, experiment with events and e-commerce. And number 7, test the international potential. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm happy to hand over to James and hopefully answer some of your questions.
Karen, thank you very much. A fascinating presentation. Got a few questions for you. First of all, what would you say buyers of media businesses are really looking for?
I think they're looking for a strong relationship with a very, very clearly defined and lucrative audience. So the more that a media organisation can prove I guess the engagement of their audience, the value of their audience, the stronger the proposition. And I think what's interesting is how a lot of media businesses are now starting to sort of like sell other services to their audience, particularly noticeable in B2B with the growth of events, and also kind of reports and consultancy and data products. So having a really clearly defined audience who've got money to spend, and having a semi-exclusive relationship with that audience through your content is I think really that's the core value that you're trying to develop.
Okay. Karen, another question. Could you explain what you mean by self-service directories?
Right. Yeah, sorry, that was a little bit of jargon. I guess what I'm seeing really on advertising revenues is a bit of a polarization, because the idea of bespoke marketing solutions and using content and coming up with a tailored package is absolutely fantastic if you've got advertising clients who will spend £5,000 or £10,000 a year or more, because you can justify investing quite a lot of your sales sort of people's time in servicing that and coming up with something which is a bit of a one-off and then making sure it gets delivered. But there are some advertising propositions, and I guess it's particularly products for sale or sort of smaller suppliers, where they're never going to spend that amount of money. You're talking about hundreds of pounds per year, but it's still worth having, particularly if you have volume. And so looking at ways in which they can post those ads themselves, perhaps on a directory, and kind of like upgrade themselves, just means you don't have to allocate huge amounts of your salespeople's time to servicing them.
Okay. And what are the best ways, do you think, to build subscribers?
Have fabulous content. I think is the first thing. I guess that there's a lot of sort of, I guess, detective work really, is understanding your audience. So I talk a little bit about having user groups, and I think obviously online surveys are great, but I think you only really get a proper insight into the big information gaps by talking to people. Now, it could be over the phone, or it could be at live events, or it could be through more formal qualitative research. And I think that's where you suddenly get into the nuggets of this is something that people really need. There's a real kind of like pain, and there's a real hassle in getting a particular bit of information, and you think, right, we could do that. So I think if you can identify those nuggets of information and build kind of like build that exclusive content, then you've got something that people want to keep coming back to, and they're prepared to pay on a regular basis for. And I guess the other sort of important thing in developing subscribers is this idea of a funnel, and having a broad reach through social media and free content, and then building up an email database or a higher level of registered interest, and then marketing that to marketing subscriptions to that group. And I do bore people silly with The Economist, but they have absolutely got this right. They do a fabulous job in terms of putting out quality content for free, and then they are absolutely ruthless in terms of converting that to paid subscriptions.
Okay. Karen, for an advertiser who traditionally uses print, purchases print advertising, what percentage would you expect for them to pay for digital? So are digital ads typically 10%, 25% of their print cousins?
Right. I don't think I think you're looking at it from the wrong end of the telescope, because I think the important thing is, and this is where the consultative sales approach comes in, is to talk to that advertiser and find out what they're really trying to do. What are their marketing objectives? Are they trying to change people's minds about their product? Are they trying to generate leads? Are they trying to build up a database? And then you need to work out a campaign which could include different elements of your media business, which helps them deliver that, and that they will spend whatever it takes if that campaign delivers. So if you can deliver £100,000 worth of new business for them, they may well spend 10 grand with you. So I think you have to think about the outcome for the advertiser, and then how you can use your the different aspects of your media business to deliver their objectives. And that's kind of where I think particularly publishers have to get away from the volume and the reach side of digital advertising, because they're on a hiding to nothing. They will never ever get the yields that they want. And so what's much more important is to be able to demonstrate that through your digital activities you can get the attention of really lucrative and affluent people who will spend money with the advertiser. So I think you've got to look at a campaign as a whole, and you have to focus on the advertiser's objectives. This is obviously much more, it's easier to define perhaps in a B2B environment where a new client could be worth 10 grand, and so a lead is a really, really important thing.
Okay.
Okay,
good answer. Carolyn, can you think of any good examples of SME B2B businesses that have done many or any of the areas you've referred to well? Some good examples of companies doing a good job.
Yeah, and some of these are, I think, are well-known examples. But eConsultancy sort of started. They were obviously digital only, but they developed the idea of free registered subscribers and then selling events. And obviously that business was sold to Centaur for 12 million quid about 2 or 3 years ago. So that's pretty good. Another business I do admire is Procurement Leaders. So I hope Alex isn't on the call. If he is, I hope he's blushing. But they've made a very good kind of business out of starting with magazine and website, and then gradually building up layers of different membership and subscription propositions, and gradually trading people up to kind of like to higher ticket prices. I do also think, and again they may be on the call, that kind of Briefing Media are doing some kind of like very clever stuff in the agricultural sector, where they started off with Farmers Guardian, which is a very traditional print publisher. Then they've got a number of agribusinesses, and they're now moving into data products. And so they are using the reach from the traditional publications to start to identify opportunities for very kind of specific and high value kind of services. And those are all B2B. But I think Immediate Media did a very good job in specialist consumer. I think what they did in crafts was very interesting. Moving from the reach of their magazines into actually selling craft kits through TV shopping, and obviously they've just been sold to Burda, so I think their investors are probably very happy. Dennis Publishing also do a good job. Obviously they're not quite an SME; they're sort of like a much larger publisher, but they're very good at identifying new things to sell to their existing audiences.
Okay, Karen, can you outline the components and hierarchy of a typical successful membership package?
Ooh, it all depends on the audience. It all depends on the audience. I guess I'll start really with kind of B2B. I think the key thing in B2B that makes it membership rather than subscriptions is networking and peer insights. And the trick is finding out which group of people your audience really want to meet, and then looking at kind of bespoke events that really help them to do that. So I think that's when it becomes membership rather than kind of just being a sort of a collection of content.
Okay. Another question: how important is the Humble e-newsletter to modern publishers?
Oh, I'm a big fan of e-newsletters, and they're particularly kind of like strong, I guess, in B2B, because people do check their emails on their phone. There is a risk maybe in 10 years that the millennial generation will do everything through chat and messaging, and they won't do emails. But at the moment, it still works. And most publishers I speak to will say that the majority of the traffic to their website is driven by their editorial newsletters. And it's just a really nice prompt to get people to come back to your website. So I think they're often considered a bit kind of oldie worldy compared with social media or sort of like chat. But I think they deliver value, and they're usually much better at selling paid products like conferences and reports.
Okay. We've had a lot of success with building a Twitter audience, but Facebook has been more difficult. Do you have any tips on boosting a Facebook following?
Again, it depends on your audience, because I think for B2B, kind of Facebook doesn't always kind of catch fire. I think you have to go back to your audience and kind of find out how that particular social platform fits into their life. And it may well be, if you are B2B, that when your audience are on Facebook, they're actually interested in their leisure time or their leisure interests or politics, rather than kind of doing business. However, I guess the counterexample of that is The Economist. So they've done very well in posting video content, visual chart-based content, cartoons, lots of kind of interesting and intriguing bits of information. So if you are more into the sort of like, news end of the spectrum, that could be a really good publisher to take a good look at and see what they do.
Okay, Karen, another big question with little time left, but where do you see the future of print advertising?
Ooh, well, I think there will be a role for print. It's just going to be a lot smaller than it has been, because print is great for the more kind of leisurely read, when people are sort of forming their views about a particular brand. So high fashion, perhaps top end kind of automotive areas, kind of in those areas, I think kind of print advertising can do a good job. However, it's just so hard in many sectors to demonstrate how it's working. And so I think we've already seen recruitment, directories, items for sale have all gone online. And now that publishers are getting better at sponsored content and sponsored video, and advertisers are more tuned into content marketing, I think there are more opportunities to do branding style activity in digital. And so the traditional sort of view of print, it's going to decline sort of like slowly. I was a bit shocked actually this morning to see some of the newspaper ABCs and just how small the circulation of newspapers is now compared to what it was 10 years ago. So I think I wouldn't, if I was a publisher, I wouldn't put my eggs into into print advertising. I think I'd really start exploring other opportunities. I think event sponsorship is a really lucrative area, probably particularly in B2B, and that might be an easier way to get the awareness money out of advertisers than print advertising.
Okay, Karen, we've got probably just about 30 seconds left. A question. Are you gloomy or optimistic about media revenues in 2017?
I think it depends on what you define as media revenues. I think advertising is tough because it's competitive. However, I think those publishers that have the attention of a affluent audience can probably sell them more things. And the more things could be more types of content, or it could be tickets to an event, or it could be product, or it could be other services. Consultancy services is a big growth area in B2B. So if we're talking about revenue from media businesses, I would say the only limit is your imagination, but more of it will probably come from your readers, your audience, than from advertisers.
Carolyn, brilliant. We've had our 30 minutes, so we'll have to end it there. Unfortunately, we didn't get time to answer all the questions, but I think you're up for writing a piece for this week's newsletter. Is that right, Carolyn?
Yes, I did say yes to that, so I will.
Brilliant.
Definitely.
Brilliant. So Carolyn will write a piece in this week's InPub Weekly, which will look at the questions which have been asked and also some of the ones we've missed. So that'll be coming this Thursday. But a big thank you to Carolyn for another fascinating webinar. The third one Carolyn's done for us, and they've all been excellent. So thank you very much.
Thank you, James.
A recording of today's webinar will be uploaded to the web, and we will email you a link to that tomorrow. We will be publishing more details of future webinars on the InPublishing website over the next few weeks. If you would like to discuss commercial opportunities around our Top Tips webinar program, then please get in touch with my colleague Martin Maynard. Until next time, thank you for listening and have a very good afternoon.